The internet has a way of turning one conversation into a full-blown hip-hop earthquake. Whenever names like Rick Ross and Jay-Z appear together, fans immediately start searching for hidden messages, old interviews, and clues about what might really be happening behind the scenes. Two artists, two different journeys, and two completely different approaches to building power in the music industry. For years, Rick Ross has built a reputation as one of the biggest personalities in rap, creating a luxury brand, leading Maybach Music Group, and proving that longevity in hip-hop requires more than just hit records. Jay-Z, meanwhile, became one of the most influential figures in entertainment by expanding his reach from music into business and ownership. But when rumors begin spreading online, the line between facts and speculation can become blurred. Fans start asking questions. Debates explode across social media, and old moments suddenly get viewed in a completely different way. So what is the real story behind the connection between these two hip-hop giants? Is there actual tension? Or is the internet creating another headline from years of competition, respect, and ambition? Before the rumors and online debates, there was a long history of two artists building completely different paths to success. Jay-Z entered hip-hop during an era when survival meant proving yourself through music, street credibility, and consistency. Over time, he transformed from a respected rapper into one of the most influential business figures connected to the culture. Rick Ross arrived years later with a different energy. His deep voice, powerful delivery, and larger-than-life image helped him quickly become one of the most recognizable names in modern rap. Coming from Miami, Ross created a brand that represented ambition, success, and the idea of turning struggle into luxury. Both artists understood something important. Hip-hop was bigger than making songs. It was about creating a name that could survive changing trends. Jay-Z focused heavily on ownership, investments, and expanding his influence beyond the studio. Rick Ross focused on building a movement, developing artists, and creating a lifestyle connected to his music. Their careers crossed during a period when the industry was changing. Major artists were no longer only competing for chart positions. They were competing for influence, business opportunities, and the ability to shape the future of entertainment. Rick Ross's rise with Maybach Music Group became a major part of his legacy. The label helped introduce new talent and created a recognizable identity in rap. Ross became known not only as a performer, but also as someone who could guide and support other artists. Jay-Z's journey became a blueprint for many younger rappers. His ability to move between music, business, and culture showed artists that a career could continue growing long after the spotlight from a hit song faded. Because both men reached such high levels of success, fans naturally began comparing their achievements. Discussions about influence, wealth, business moves, and cultural impact became common whenever their names appeared together. Social media made these conversations even louder. A simple comment, interview clip, or old collaboration could bring back years of history and create new theories among fans. Sometimes those discussions were based on facts, while other times they were created from speculation. The reality is that successful figures in hip-hop often face constant attention. Every decision is analyzed, every relationship is questioned, and every public appearance can become a topic of debate. The story of Rick Ross and Jay-Z is ultimately about two artists who helped redefine what success could look like in rap. One built a powerful personal brand and movement, while the other created a legacy centered around ownership and expansion. And that is why fans continue watching their journeys. Because in hip-hop, the biggest stories are not only about what happened yesterday. They are about who continues shaping the future. The biggest conflict surrounding conversations about Rick Ross and Jay-Z is not a confirmed public disagreement, but the way fans interpret power, influence, and competition in hip-hop. Whenever two successful figures exist in the same space, people naturally begin comparing their moves, their relationships, and their impact on the culture. Over the years, both artists have faced moments where the public questioned their decisions. Rick Ross dealt with the pressure of maintaining relevance in a constantly changing music industry while continuing to grow his business ventures. Jay-Z faced similar pressure as his career expanded beyond music and into larger business decisions. The first major turning point came when hip-hop itself changed. Artists started realizing that having hit records was only one part of building a legacy. Ownership, branding, and strategic partnerships became just as important as being recognized on the charts. Rick Ross understood the power of creating an identity. His music, interviews, and public image all connected to a larger vision. The Maybach music brand became more than a label. It became a representation of success and ambition that fans immediately recognized. Jay-Z followed another route. Instead of focusing only on entertainment, he built influence through different industries and showed how artists could become business leaders. His career became an example of how a rapper could transform fame into long-term opportunities. As both artists continued evolving, fans began watching every move more closely. A business decision, a public statement, or even a simple appearance could create discussions about loyalty, competition, and relationships. This is where speculation often begins. The internet can take small moments and create larger narratives. A comment can become a rumor, and a rumor can become a headline before anyone knows the full story. The reality is that hip-hop has always been filled with debates about who has the strongest influence. Fans compare eras, careers, and achievements because competition has always been part of the culture. But behind the comparisons are two artists who took different approaches to success. Rick Ross built a powerful identity connected to music and lifestyle. Jay-Z created a blueprint focused on ownership and expanding influence. The first major lesson from their stories is that there is no single path to success. Hip-hop allows different personalities and strategies to create impact in different ways. And while fans continue debating their careers, the real question is not about a fictional confrontation or a hidden phone call. The real question is how two artists from different generations help change the definition of power in hip-hop. As the conversation around Rick Ross and Jay-Z continued, the biggest realization was that hip-hop power had changed forever. The industry was no longer only controlled by record sales, radio play, or chart positions. Influence became connected to ownership, branding, business decisions, and the ability to create opportunities beyond music. The second major turning point came when fans began looking deeper into the strategies behind successful careers. People started asking how artists were able to remain relevant for decades while new generations continued entering the game. Rick Ross became an example of consistency. He continued releasing music, maintaining his public image, and building connections throughout the industry. His ability to create a recognizable world around his brand helped him stay connected with fans. Jay-Z represented another side of the evolution. His career showed how artists could move from being entertainers into executives and investors. His approach influenced many younger artists who wanted to create something that could survive beyond a music career. These different paths created endless debates online. Some fans valued the ability to create a movement and maintain cultural relevance. Others valued the ability to build companies and establish ownership. But the deeper story was about adaptation. Both artists survived because they understood that hip-hop constantly changes. Sounds change, platforms change, and audiences change. But artists who understand evolution have a better chance of lasting. Social media added another layer to the conversation. Fans analyzed interviews, business moves, and public appearances, looking for clues about relationships between major figures. Sometimes these discussions created interesting conversations, but sometimes they created narratives without clear evidence. The biggest challenge for artists at this level is managing public perception. Every action can be interpreted in multiple ways, and every decision can become part of a larger conversation. For Rick Ross and Jay-Z, their careers show two examples of building influence. One focused on creating a powerful identity connected to music and culture. The other focused on expanding influence into different areas of business. The real competition was never about one person defeating another. It was about different visions of success competing in the same industry. And that is why the story continues to attract attention. Because the future of hip-hop is being shaped by artists who understand that the microphone is only the beginning. The public reaction to conversations involving Rick Ross and Jay-Z shows how much influence both artists still have whenever their names appear together. Fans immediately begin discussing their careers, their biggest moments, and the different ways they change hip-hop. Many fans respect Rick Ross because of his ability to maintain a strong identity throughout multiple eras of rap. Supporters point to his music catalog, his leadership with Maybach Music Group, and his ability to create a brand that remains recognizable in a crowded industry. Jay-Z supporters often highlight his long-term impact outside of music. They point to his transformation from rapper to businessman and how his career encouraged artists to think about ownership, investments, and building something bigger than entertainment. Online discussions often become emotional because hip-hop fans connect personal meaning to artists. Songs, interviews, and moments from different eras can remind people of important times in their lives, making these conversations about more than just business. At the same time, social media can create confusion. Rumors spread quickly, and fans sometimes debate situations before all the facts are known. This is especially common when discussing major celebrities with decades of history in the public eye. The reaction also reflects how much hip-hop has grown. Artists are no longer judged only by their albums. People look at their businesses, influence, mentorship, and ability to remain respected over time. Rick Ross and Jay-Z both represent different examples of success. One shows how branding and cultural connection can create a powerful legacy. The other shows how ownership and strategic thinking can expand an artist's reach. For younger artists watching today, their careers provide important lessons. Talent may open the door, but consistency, planning, and adaptability determine how long someone stays successful. The biggest takeaway from the public conversation is that hip-hop continues to evolve. The artists who leave the strongest impact are often the ones who understand both creativity and business. As fans continue debating different paths to greatness, one thing remains clear. The influence of Rick Ross and Jay-Z will continue being discussed for years to come. After looking at the entire journey of Rick Ross and Jay-Z, the biggest surprise is that the real story was never about one person defeating another. It was about two different visions of success developing at the same time and changing the way people view hip-hop careers. The final twist is that the strongest competition in the industry is often not between artists. It is between ideas. The idea of building a movement, creating a brand, and staying connected to culture stands beside the idea of ownership, expansion, and creating long-term business power. Rick Ross proved that identity matters. His ability to create a world around his music helped him become more than just another rapper. He created a recognizable image that connected with millions of fans. Jay-Z proved that evolution matters. His career showed that an artist can continue growing by exploring new opportunities and building influence outside the traditional boundaries of music. The question fans continue asking is what truly defines greatness in hip-hop. Is it the biggest songs? The strongest business moves? The ability to inspire future generations? Or the power to remain respected after decades? The answer may be that greatness comes from different forms of achievement. Every artist leaves a different mark, and every era creates new examples of success. The biggest lesson from their careers is that longevity requires vision. Trends change, audiences change, and the industry changes. But artists who adapt are the ones who continue making history. As younger artists study the careers of figures like Rick Ross and Jay-Z, they are learning that the microphone is only one tool. The real challenge is building something that lasts after the spotlight moves. So the next chapter of hip-hop will not only be written by the artists with the biggest records, it will be written by the artists who understand how to turn talent into legacy. After exploring the careers of Rick Ross and Jay-Z, one thing is clear. Both artists help redefine what success looks like in hip-hop. Their stories show that building a legacy requires more than making music. It requires vision, consistency, and the ability to adapt as the culture changes. But now we want to hear from you. Who do you think created the stronger blueprint for success? Do you believe Rick Ross's approach of building a powerful brand and movement stands out the most? Or do you think Jay-Z's focus on ownership and business changed the game forever? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let everyone know your opinion. What moment from either artist's career do you think had the biggest impact on hip-hop culture? Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for more hip-hop stories, industry discussions, and deep dives into the artists who continue shaping the culture. Because every legend has a journey, every era has its icons, and every story has another chapter waiting to be told. Stay tuned for the next story.